Experiencing your first winter in Denver, Colorado, especially if you're moving from either coast or even the south, is going to be a shock. There are a few things you need to know now to make sure you're not caught off guard or even stranded on the side of the road. Yup, it can get that bad. Let me explain. The first thing to know about this part of Colorado is that the winter weather is definitely cold, but there's a caveat that makes it better. Normal winter temperatures will range in the highs from the 40s to 50s and then the 20s to 30s for the lows. Of course, not without a spread of some really cold days here and there, as well as some days in the 60s. Now with this, Denver is also very dry, which actually doesn't make the temperatures that bad. In fact, it can be a huge transition to those coming from a more humid area of the country, where the cold bites a little harder. In Denver, I'd argue the aridity actually makes the winters milder. And then to make it even better, Colorado has a ton of sunny days year-round, even in the winter. In fact, the winter months are supposed to be the cloudiest months, but it's only cloudy 40% of the time. So after a fresh snowfall, you'll wake up to some beautiful clear blue skies while everything around is covered in a blanket of snow. It's fantastic. Denver, Colorado does not have a lot of overcast days, even in the winter. Now, speaking of snow, we have to talk about snowfall. So this is going to be very specific to your location. Denver itself is a bit out on the plains, so you can expect an average monthly snowfall of only around 2 inches. But the city is close to the beginning of the Rocky Mountains. What does this mean? Well, the amount of snowfall can vary depending on your location, generally with more snowfall expected the closer you get. So Denver itself actually doesn't get that much snowfall for the season, but that doesn't mean that it's free from some snowstorms that may roll through and dump half a foot. Also, there could be some storms that hit Denver harder than if you were closer to the mountains. But as you'll see, the Front Range is typically the place where most of the snowfall happens. Also, given the fact that the average temperatures in the city are above freezing, generally the snow is gone within a few days. It's nothing too crazy. Now, before we continue preparing on your winter in Denver, if you have any specific questions or are getting ready for a move out to Colorado, reach out to me. I speak with home buyers every week, like you, looking for their next place to live, and I'm ready to help any way I can. My information is pinned below. Shoot me an email or schedule a time to talk. I look forward to hearing from you. Now let's get back into it. Now, even with just a little snowfall, there's something I strongly recommend keeping in mind as you're preparing for a Denver winter. And that's, if you can, consider driving a vehicle with at least all-wheel drive or better. Personally, I recommend SUVs over sedans, but that's just a personal preference. But having at least a vehicle that has all-wheel drive will make any type of driving in Colorado in the winter much better. Also, since you're in Colorado, going into the mountains or on unpaved roads is much more common. And I'd hate for you to be caught in a storm on I-70 and have an increased risk of an accident. Obviously, I am aware buying a different car is easier said than done. Can you survive in Denver with a car that's two-wheel drive? Yes, you definitely can. But safety-wise, I'd at least strongly recommend upgrading to something with a bit more control. SUVs, in my opinion, also offer a better experience if you're intending to capitalize on Colorado's outdoors. It's easier to lug your snowboard up into the mountains in an SUV compared to a sedan. Which actually brings me to my last point, which is because Denver, Colorado's winters are relatively mild, not too much snowfall compared to the mountains, and a ton of sunny days. The last thing on our list is to get out and enjoy the season. The holidays in Denver and surrounding areas are wonderful. Plus, there are a ton of outdoor locations surrounding the city that are great for outdoor hiking, snowshoeing, or even cross-country skiing. Not to mention several mountain resorts and ski areas only 60+ minutes away. Usually by early November, the mountains are starting to open up, and they won't close until at latest early June. Last season, my last day snowboarding was May 24th. So you have a ton of months to get out there. This part of Colorado is incredible year-round and even holds on to that beauty in the wintertime. And this is a huge difference compared to many other parts of the country. There's always something to do here, so you can't miss out. But now that you know what winters are like in Denver, and you can gauge the expected snowfall relative to where you want to move, have you narrowed that search down? If not, I have a few videos highlighting some Denver suburbs. Definitely check those out. They're a good place to start. This is Life on the Front Range. I'll see you there.